Have you ever looked at someone else's life and thought, I wish I had that? Maybe you see a friend with a new toy, or you watch someone on social media who seems to have a perfect life. It is very easy to fall into this trap. We look at others and see only their bright, shiny moments. We see their success, their beauty, or their possessions. We don't see the hard work behind the scenes. We don't see their struggles or their moments of doubt. This habit of comparing ourselves to others is like looking into a distorted mirror. It never shows you the full picture, and it often makes you feel smaller and less important than you truly are. This feeling is a common human experience. We are social creatures, and it's natural to notice what others are doing. But when we start measuring our own worth against what we see in others, we begin a journey away from our own happiness. We start to believe that happiness is something out there, something that other people have, and we do not. We think if we could just be like them, or have what they have, then we would finally be content. This mindset puts our joy in someone else's hands. It ties our peace to external things that we cannot control, creating a constant state of wanting more and never feeling like we are enough just as we are. Imagine you are running a race. If you focus only on your own path, on your own breath, and on your own steps, you can find a rhythm and a sense of accomplishment. You can enjoy the feeling of moving forward, but if you spend the whole time looking at the runner ahead of you, or the one beside you, you lose focus. You might stumble. You might feel discouraged because they seem faster or stronger. Your own journey becomes a source of stress instead of a source of pride. Life is much like this race. The goal isn't to beat everyone else. It's to run your own race with integrity, purpose, and joy, appreciating every step you take. The truth is, everyone is on their own unique journey. Everyone has their own set of challenges and their own set of blessings. The person you admire for their confidence might be secretly battling anxiety. The person whose life looks effortless might be working tirelessly when no one is watching. By constantly comparing, we create stories in our minds that are not true. We imagine perfect lives for others while being painfully aware of our own imperfections. But what if we shifted our focus? What if, instead of looking outward with envy, we looked inward with gratitude? This shift in perspective is the first step toward finding a deeper, more lasting happiness. In a large green forest, there lived a crow. His name was Cory. Cory was not a happy bird. Every morning he would wake up and look at his reflection in a small puddle of water. He saw his dark black feathers and heard his own loud, cawing voice. He did not like what he saw or heard. He would look around at the other birds in the forest and feel a deep sense of sadness. He saw the bright red of the cardinal, the cheerful yellow of the canary, and the swift, graceful flight of the swallow. He believed that every other bird was better, more beautiful, and happier than he was. He spent his days wishing he could be anyone but himself. One sunny afternoon, Cory was sitting on a high branch, feeling particularly down. Oh, why was I made a crow? He sighed to himself. My feathers are so plain and dark. My voice is so harsh. No one admires me. Everyone just shoos me away. He watched a magnificent swan glide gracefully across a nearby lake. The swan's feathers were a brilliant, pure white, and it moved with an elegance that mesmerized Cory. Now, that is a happy bird, Cory thought. The swan must be the happiest bird in the world. Everyone loves to look at it. I wish I were a swan. Then, I would, truly, be happy and at peace. Filled with this deep desire, Cory decided he could not stay in his own skin any longer. He had to find out the secret to the swan's happiness. He decided to leave his familiar branch and embark on a journey. He would find this beautiful swan and ask it what it felt like to be so perfect. He believed that if he could just understand the swan's perspective, maybe he could learn how to be happy too. He flew down from his tree, his heart heavy with his own perceived ugliness, but hopeful that an answer was waiting for him by the serene waters of the lake. He was determined to change his life by becoming like someone else. As Cory flew towards the lake, his mind was filled with images of the swan. He imagined a life of silent admiration, of gliding on cool water without a care in the world. He was so focused on the swan's perceived perfection that he didn't notice the freedom he had. He could fly anywhere in the forest. He was clever and resourceful, always able to find food. He had a strong community of other crows who called out to each other from the trees. But Cory saw none of these blessings. His eyes were fixed on what he lacked, not on what he possessed. This journey, he thought, was about finding what he was missing, not realizing he already had everything he needed. Corey finally reached the edge of the lake. The water was clear and calm, reflecting the blue sky like a perfect mirror. There, in the middle of the lake, was the swan he had admired from afar. It was even more beautiful up close. Its long, graceful neck curved elegantly, and its white feathers seemed to shine in the sunlight. Corey gathered his courage and flew to a low-hanging branch near the water's edge. "Excuse me, dear swan," Corey called out in his loudest, most respectful caw. "You are the most beautiful bird I've ever seen. You must be the happiest bird in the world. I wish I were you." The swan turned its head slowly, its dark eyes holding a surprising sadness. It looked at the small, black crow and offered a gentle, weak smile. "Thank you for your kind words, little crow," the swan said softly, its voice much less joyful than Corey had imagined. "Many tell me I am beautiful, but happy? I do not think I am the happiest bird. In fact, I often feel quite sad." Corey was shocked. How could this perfect creature be anything but happy? The swan continued, "My white feathers are beautiful, it is true, but they also make me a target. Hunters can see me from far away. I live in constant fear for my life and for my family." The swan then dipped its head, looking at its own reflection. "Furthermore, this color, white, is the color of peace, but it is also the color of nothingness. It feels plain to me. I look at other birds, and I see such vibrant life. For instance, have you seen the parrot? The parrot is covered in a rainbow of colors: green, blue, yellow, and red. It is so full of life and energy. People are captivated by its colors and its ability to talk. I believe the parrot must be the happiest bird in the world. If I had colors like the parrot, I would have nothing to fear or be sad about." Corey listened, completely stunned. The swan, the bird he thought was perfect, was afraid and felt plain. It wanted to be a parrot. Corey's idea of the swan's perfect life shattered in an instant. He had been so sure that beauty equaled happiness, but the swan had a problem he had never considered. The very thing he admired, the swan's white feathers, was the source of its greatest fear. Thanking the swan for its time, Corey flew away from the lake. His mind was buzzing. If the swan wasn't happy, then who was? He decided his journey was not over. He had to find this parrot and see if it was truly the happiest bird alive. Following the swan's advice, Corey flew towards the edge of the forest where a small town began. He soon heard cheerful chatter and bright squawks coming from the window of a large house. There, inside a beautiful, ornate golden cage, sat a magnificent parrot. Its feathers were a stunning mix of emerald green, sapphire blue, and ruby red. The parrot was talking and laughing, repeating the words of the people inside the house. This must be it, Corey thought. The swan was right. The parrot is so colorful and loved by people. It has food and a safe place to live. It must be the happiest bird in the world. Corey landed on the windowsill and called out to the parrot. "Hello, wonderful parrot. I have traveled a long way to see you. Your colors are breathtaking, and everyone loves you. The swan told me you must be the happiest bird alive." The parrot stopped its cheerful chatter and turned to look at Corey. Its bright eyes seemed to dim for a moment. "Happiest?" The parrot squawked, ruffling its vibrant feathers. "I may seem happy. People give me delicious fruits and nuts. They talk to me all day. But look around me, Crow. I live in this golden cage. It is beautiful, yes, but it is still a cage." The parrot hopped closer to the bars, its voice dropping to a whisper. "I see you, Crow. You can fly wherever you want. You soar across the sky, you feel the wind under your wings, and you are free. I would trade all my beautiful feathers and all these tasty treats for just one day of your freedom. I watch the eagles flying high above the mountains, and I feel a deep ache in my heart. They are so powerful, so majestic, and so free. They are the kings of the sky. The eagle, now that is a bird that must be truly happy. It has strength and freedom. What more could any bird want?" Corey stared at the parrot, his beak hanging slightly open. The parrot, with all its colors and attention, was a prisoner. It longed for the very thing Corey took for granted every single day, his freedom to fly. The beautiful golden cage was not a home, it was a jail. The laughter and chatter were not signs of joy, but a performance for its captors. Corey felt a pang of sympathy for the colorful bird. He was beginning to see a pattern. Every bird he met seemed to think another bird was happier. He thanked the parrot and flew away, his thoughts now turning to the mighty eagle. He would find this king of the sky and learn its secret. Corey flew higher than he had ever flown before, towards the tall, jagged mountains that touched the clouds. The air grew thin and cold, but, he was determined. He had to find the eagle. After a long and tiring flight, he finally spotted one. It was perched on the highest peak, a solitary figure against the vast, empty sky. The eagle was just magnificent, even more impressive than Corey had imagined. Its wings were vast and powerful, its eyes sharp and focused, and it radiated an aura of strength and command. Corey felt a little intimidated, but managed to land on a rocky ledge a safe distance away. "Great eagle!" Corey called out, his voice small in the immense silence. "You are the king of the sky," Corey continued, his admiration clear in his voice. "You are strong, powerful, and free. You fear no one. The parrot told me you must be the happiest bird in existence. Is it true? What is it like to be so powerful?" The eagle turned its piercing gaze towards Corey. There was no joy in its eyes, only a deep, profound loneliness. "King of the sky?" the eagle replied, its voice a low rumble like distant thunder. "I am strong, that is true. I am free to fly where I wish. But I'm also alone. It is lonely up here at the top. Other birds fear me. They scatter when I approach. I have no community, no friends to share my days with." The eagle looked out over the vast landscape below. "I watch the birds in the forest below. I see the crows, like you, gathering in large groups. You call to each other. You share food. You fly together. You have a family, a community. I have power, but I have no one to share it with. My strength isolates me." The eagle then sighed, a sound that seemed to echo through the mountains. "Sometimes, I look down and see the peacock in the gardens below. It is surrounded by admirers. Its beauty brings joy to others, and it is the center of attention. It is never lonely. I think the peacock, with its incredible beauty and audience, must be the truly happy one." Corey was speechless once again. The mighty eagle, the symbol of power and freedom, was lonely. It craved the one thing Corey had in abundance: community. Corey thought of his fellow crows, how they would caw and chatter in the trees, warning each other of danger and sharing news of where to find food. He had always seen them as just a noisy crowd, but the eagle saw them as a family. Corey's perception was shifting with every bird he met. Each one revealed a hidden struggle tied to the very quality he admired. His journey was, becoming less about finding a happier bird and more about understanding what happiness truly was. He now had a new destination: the peacock's garden. Corey flew down from the desolate mountains and headed towards the lush gardens of a grand estate he had heard about. It didn't take long to find the peacock. It was strutting proudly on a perfectly manicured lawn, its magnificent tail spread out like a giant jeweled fan. The feathers shimmered with iridescent blues, greens, and golds. A small group of people had gathered to watch, oohing and aahing at the stunning display. The eagle was right, Corey thought. The peacock is the center of attention. It is surrounded by admirers. This must be happiness, to be so beautiful that everyone stops to look at you. He waited until the crowd dispersed and then flew down to a bench near the peacock. "Oh, magnificent peacock," Corey began, feeling a little starstruck. "I have never seen anything so beautiful in my life. Your feathers are like 1,000 sparkling gems. Everyone adores you. The eagle himself told me that you must be the happiest bird in the world." The peacock slowly folded its spectacular tail and turned to face Corey. Its face was beautiful, but its eyes looked tired. "Do you really think so, little crow?" the peacock asked, its voice weary. "This beauty is not a gift. It is a burden." "A burden?" Corey squawked in disbelief. "How can such beauty be a burden?" The peacock sighed heavily. "These feathers," it said, gesturing with its head towards its folded tail, "are incredibly heavy. They make it difficult for me to fly. I cannot soar in the sky like you or the eagle. I am bound to the ground, and because of this beauty I am constantly hunted, not just by predators in the wild, but by humans who want my feathers for decoration. My beauty puts a price on my head. I live in a beautiful prison, always on display, always in danger." The peacock then looked up at the sky with a longing expression. I watch birds like the owl. The owl is wise and respected. It moves silently through the night, unseen and undisturbed. It is not judged for its appearance. It is admired for its wisdom and its mysterious nature. It has a quiet dignity that I can only dream of. The owl does not need to show off to be valued. I believe the owl with its simple life and profound wisdom must be the happiest bird. Corey's head was spinning. The peacock, the epitome of beauty, felt trapped and endangered by its own allure. It envied the simple, unseen owl. Corey knew he had to find this wise bird next. As dusk began to settle over the land, Corey flew back into the deep woods, searching for the wise owl the peacock had spoken of. He found him perched silently in the hollow of an old oak tree, his large golden eyes blinking slowly in the fading light. The forest was quiet, and the owl seemed to be a part of the serene silence. Corey felt a sense of calm just being near him. "Wise owl," Corey whispered, not wanting to disturb the peace. "I have been on a long journey. The peacock believes you are the happiest bird because you are wise and live a simple, respected life. Is this true?" The owl swiveled its head almost all the way around to look at Corey, a movement that was both fascinating and slightly unnerving. "The peacock said that?" The owl hooted softly. "It is true that I am not hunted for my feathers, and it is true that some consider me wise, but my life is far from perfect." The owl's large eyes seemed to hold a deep melancholy. "I am a creature of the night. I can barely see during the day. While all of you are out enjoying the sunshine, flying and singing, I must hide away in darkness. I sleep when the world is awake, and I am awake when the world is asleep. It is a lonely existence." The owl continued, its voice a low, somber murmur. "I hear the sounds of the day, the laughter of other birds, the rustle of leaves in the warm breeze, and I can only imagine what it is like. I miss the warmth of the sun on my feathers. I am active only in the cold, dark night." The owl then looked directly at Corey, its gaze penetrating. "You, Crow, I see you during the day. You are always busy, always active. You can find food anywhere in the forest or in the towns. You are clever and adaptable, nothing stops you. You are not trapped by beauty, nor by a cage, nor by loneliness, nor by the darkness. You have freedom." Corey was completely taken aback. The wise owl, a creature he thought would have all the answers, felt trapped by the night. It missed the simple pleasure of a sunny day, and it saw Corey, plain, simple Corey, as a bird that had true freedom. The owl wasn't envying a more glamorous bird like a swan or a peacock. It was envying him, the crow. For the first time on his journey, Corey didn't know what to think. He had come seeking the happiest bird, but every bird he met pointed to another, and now, the path had led right back to him. He thanked the owl and flew off into the twilight, his mind a whirlwind of thoughts. Corey flew slowly back towards his home tree. The moon was rising, casting a soft, silvery light over the forest. His journey was over, but his mind was still racing. He replayed every conversation in his head. The swan, beautiful, but fearful. The parrot, colorful, but caged. The eagle, powerful, but lonely. The peacock, admired but burdened. The owl, wise but confined to the darkness. Each bird that he had admired, that he had envied, had its own secret sorrow. Each one was struggling with the very thing that Corey thought made them special. Their greatest strengths were also the sources of their deepest unhappiness. He realized that no one's life was perfect. He had been so busy looking at the highlight reels of other birds' lives that he had completely missed their struggles. He had imagined their lives were filled with nothing but joy, simply because they were different from him. He had built up grand fantasies of what it would be like to be a swan or an eagle. But the reality was far more complicated. Everyone had a challenge. Everyone had a burden to carry. There was no magical, perfect life waiting for him if he could just become someone else. Perfection was an illusion. As this realization washed over him, something inside Corey began to shift. He thought about what the eagle and the owl had said about him. The eagle envied his community. The owl envied his freedom to enjoy the daylight. The parrot envied his ability to fly anywhere. Corey had never thought about these things as blessings. He had always taken his freedom for granted. He had seen his fellow crows as noisy, not as a supportive family. He had seen his ability to find food anywhere as ordinary, not as a sign of his cleverness and resilience. He was seeing himself through their eyes for the first time. He landed on his favorite branch in his home tree. He looked at his reflection, in the same puddle he had looked into that morning. He still saw his dark black feathers. He let out a caw, and it was still loud and harsh. But this time, he saw and heard something different. He saw a bird that was free, a bird that had a community, a bird that was clever, strong, and could survive anywhere. He was not a swan, a parrot, or an eagle. He was a crow, and for the first time in his life, that felt like more than enough. It felt good. It felt right. The next morning, Corey woke up with a new feeling in his heart. It was not sadness or envy. It was a light, warm feeling. It was gratitude. He flew down to the puddle and looked at his reflection again. "I am a crow," he said aloud, and his caw sounded strong and confident. He was grateful for his black feathers that helped him blend into the shadows and stay safe. He was grateful for his strong wings that could carry him for miles. He was grateful for his loud voice that could alert his friends to danger or call them to a feast. He was grateful for his crow family. He was grateful to be himself. Corey spent the rest of his days living with this newfound joy. He no longer wasted his time wishing he were someone else. Instead, he appreciated all the wonderful things about being a crow. He played with his friends, soaring and diving through the sky with a lightness he had never felt before. He became a storyteller. He would gather the younger crows and tell them about his journey. He told them about the beautiful swan who was afraid, the colorful parrot who was caged, and the mighty eagle who was lonely. He shared the important lesson he had learned. He taught them that comparing themselves to others was a path to unhappiness. "Do not look at the peacock's tail and feel plain," he would say, "for you do not have to carry its weight. Do not look at the eagle's power and feel weak, for you do not have to bear its loneliness." He encouraged them to look at their own strengths. He helped them see the value in their community, their intelligence, and their freedom. Corey, the once unhappy crow, became a source of wisdom and inspiration for his entire community. He had found happiness not by changing who he was, but by finally appreciating who he had been all along. The lesson of Corey's journey is a simple yet powerful one for all of us. True happiness is not found in wanting what others have. It is not about being more beautiful, more powerful, or more admired. True, lasting happiness comes from within. It blooms from a heart full of gratitude for the life you already have. Look at your own life, at your own unique gifts, your own friends, your own challenges that have made you strong. Your life is your own special journey. Don't waste a moment of it wishing you were on someone else's path. The greatest freedom you will ever have is the freedom to be unapologetically, gratefully, and joyfully yourself.